to be horticultural cooling stuff. When you pass there, the place is like a defunct ruin. Even the women who don't have where to put their goods can never step there. And yet it's a well-built facility. That shows us that unless we are careful and determined to do value addition, those coolers in Sangalo might never be seen by anyone and might degenerate faster than the ones on the highway to Nairobi. So I hope and pray, my governor, that we motivate our farmers to make use of those facilities. Otherwise, that structure on the way at Matisi is a key study of big projects that can be shameful to the sight of the taxpayer. Thank you.
I agree with you.
Governor, I don't know what assurance you can give the people of Bungoma who feel that there's usually not adequate consultation, especially public participation, when we're doing these projects. There are people who fear that in the next few years, that Sangalo National Polytechnic or Bungoma National Polytechnic might lose all its land to these government projects that don't involve the community. I don't know what assurance you can give them as the governor of Bungoma.
Governor? Yeah, we will ensure that we have public participation going forward, so long as it's a proper public participation. Because I remember when I was a speaker here, we had that bill. I don't know that it went through the public participation bill, because again, my experience has been, everybody hires their own supporters to come and cheer or jeer, depending on what you are prosecuting. Then it ends up not even being a public participation exercise. But we'll consult with all the stakeholders to ensure that whatever we are bringing, it's part, they own it. Otherwise, if they don't own it, again, it can end up being an elephant. I don't know which color. It can be an elephant. Thank you, Chair.
How much land did Sangalo cede for the KIPES?
Sasita. How much was Sasita? It was mine. Huh?
Because if you followed the recent...
It was around 30 acres.
Around 30 acres.
Yeah, I wanted to
if you follow the contemporary conversations, the former Vice-Chancellor of Kenyatta University addresses himself to such issues where institutional land is being hived off on executive orders. So we need to be careful about that. So we keep these KIPES view and move to the next issue. Of course, we'll make more specific recommendations. The next issue is the Sangalo Junction to dual carriage. There's a very detailed finding there by the Auditor General. There's an even more detailed response from the county, which is how many pages, Governor? 3 pages. So, taking note of the written responses, Auditor General, your query was value for money. Was there any finding here that implied loss of funds?
Honorable Chair, no.
So when you say that, bill, for example, under bill number 16, some bitumen etc. had not been done. If it had not been done, had it been invoiced?
No.
When you say that concrete works, including a footbridge costing 50 million, had not been done, had it been invoiced?
No.
So all the issues you have raised there, Bill 16, 17, 20, 26, street lighting, was done by another state agency?
Yes.
Did the county also pay?
No.
For street lighting?
No.
So in your observations, you are just raising variations in the BQs?
Which ought to have been done. For that 24.2 million, the BQ has not been revised to remove that item.
What's the process of revising the BQ?
They need to be subjected to evaluation committee.
Governor, was that done?
Roads.
Thank you. Through the chair, we did not revise the BQ because the contract already lapsed. The contract lapsed in 2022, and the street lights done by the national government was done in 2024.
If you are supposed to do a bridge at 50 million,
and it wasn't done. Are you just going to say, fine, it wasn't done, so there's no need to revise anything?
Chair, in our initial variation, the footbridge was removed from the contract.
Yes, I think that's a process that we are talking about.
Yes.
So-
We did an evaluation and the variation committee was there and the footbridge was removed.
So why didn't you explain that to the auditor? Because the auditor says you should have done that. You didn't demonstrate that you did it when you came for the audit.
Unless he was not supplied with the variation contract.
Auditor General, am I asking what you asked, or I'm asking for new information?
Yes, we are doing the same. We did the same ourselves, and that was not explained.
It was not explained.
Yes.
So we take, for instance, the 50 million bridge. You see, the public will conclude that the governor ate the bridge. Watasema umekula hiyo daraja.
I was
Ya
going
50
to
million.
ask if the county government now says a footbridge at Chebukube is not necessary. Is that what you're saying?
No, Chair. When the contract was being varied, there are quantities that were removed. One of them was a footbridge.
That's not the question. Do the people of Bungoma, because Chair, there's a very busy market that's on the road there, do the people of Chebukube there still need a footbridge on that road?
Yes, they need a footbridge, and in our submission and handover of the road to Kenya, those are the part of the quantities or scope of work that we told them to do.
Through the chair, I want to ask, and I don't know if this works. You know, there people are back on that road, and the public does not even understand who is working. When did this agreement, or when did Kenya take over this facility? When a contractor had not done what we agreed that he should do, and looking at the millions, 1.something billion given to them, they have not done what we had expected them to do. Is it in order? We have no, even the street lights, as you say, they are concrete posts funded by the national government during Madaraka, consuming a lot of our taxpayers' money. There is no cabro around that road for people to walk. The drainage is pathetic. There are no rails. My friend, how can we allow such people to go scot-free and just hand over a 6-point-something kilometer to national government?
Governor?
And who are these evaluation committee? We need to know them. Under whose instructions are they following to change that thing?
Probably, Chair, that's put it in context. When we inherited that road, when we came in, we found a huge pending bill. Most of the works that were done had not been paid. So what we did is to first of all pay for the works done before we then give them instructions to do work that they are ought to do. For example, they had not done the second layer, but we had not even paid for the first layer. We cannot tell them to do a footbridge, and we have not really paid for the first layer. Because when they do work, we measure, then pay. Do work, we measure, then pay. So most of the works, even right now, certificate number 8, 9, and 10 has not been paid.
Through the chair, last year, that road had manholes protruding on the road.
Manholes or potholes?
Manholes, and at some point, potholes. So there was a collabo between manholes and potholes. And at some point, those manholes were flattened, and people started marking that road. The public rose up against and asked, why are you marking the road, and yet part of the work has not been done? That exercise stopped. Today, they are now recapitulating with a thin layer of what we call kokoto. Looking at the sides, no drainage. On the side of West Kenya, Mteremuko, down West Kenya, that water is bringing down people's houses. We cannot allow the contractor to go scot-free. If it's a Chinese, Honorable Chair, the Chinese fella must be brought to be seen in public so that people know this is the Chinese person who is taking off with our money. Thank you, Chair.
So
Chair, for the record,
power,
you see the Chinese was pointing at me. I'm not the Chinese, right?
No,
By the way, Chair,
don't suspect yourself.
you know, in the elections of 2022, I might not have followed the conversation in Bungoma, because I was also looking for my own seat. But I remember this dual carriageway being a very hot button issue. I don't know if the governor can jog our memory about what he said he would do and whether he has done what he promised on this dual carriageway.
Governor, what I promised was to hand over that road to Kenya, which we have done. From the initial
Senator Sifuna, no. You seem to know much more than the governor is.
That's what I promised to do. That first of all, that was not our road. The road belonged to Kenya. For the county government to have put money, I mean, to have budgeted for about 1.9, that can do several roads. And that's what I used to say. That was wrong to have put that kind of money on a 6 kilometer road from Musikoma to Kandui. And I said it was wrong. And I said, I'll hand over to Kenya, which I have done. It has had a lot of issues. Even the workmanship was poor and the designs were wrong. In fact, my two senators know, to turn you have to go all the way to see you where before you turn. But now we could not just abandon it the way it was. We have handed over to the right people to complete it, and that's what I promised. Although it has all those challenges, Honorable Senator. Thank you.
It's what class of road is it? Is it a C or a B class?
Class C.
It's a class C,
Yeah.
which should be a national government road.
Yes, it is.
Now, Senator Wakoli, it is our power. We have it in our power to compel anybody who needs to appear before us or who needs to be seen in public. We have that power. So without sounding like we are profiling Chinese contractors, I don't think that should go on record. Whoever it is, whether it's a local contractor or an international contractor, if at our point of report writing, we feel like there were significant irregularities, we have the power to summon anybody, because this is a lot of money. It is 1.6. No, how much is it? 1.5 billion, 1.57 billion. That's a lot of money for a county government. So I agree with you that whoever needs to be summoned, we can summon.
Chair,
Chirake.
I think, Governor, and you were with us during the turbulent times of NMS and transfer of functions. I remember, Chair, when you chaired us in last session, you remember Narok County government did boarding facilities. That is a preserve of national government. Is there any documentation that was written between the county government of Bungoma and Kenya National Highway Authority that they should do that road?
There was documentation.
There was documentation.
Yeah.
So, Chair, maybe we look at that, but there is no value for money because doing 6 kilometers at 1.5 billion, and was it approved by Kenya for the county government to do it?
It was approved.
Okay.
Fine.
As you finish, Chair,
Yes, Senator. Finally.
as you can clearly see, and I wish the El Nino rains come so that you can take a chop and visit that dual carriage. When it rains, it becomes a waterway. If you are brief in height and not stable enough, the water can sweep you down the drain.
But everybody eats ugali there.
No, ugali is not as factor here. We are talking about
For the-
quality,
for
the
the
quality
stamina.
of work. We are talking about the storm and rainwater. I wish you people, through the chair, take a visit when it is raining in Bungoma. This is a scam. These people have looted Bungoma. And I pray, Governor, that before this national government takes this road,
Maybe.
let those people account for the 1.2 or 3 billion.
Chair,
So that you also wash your hands like Pilato and allow these people to be either crucified or let free because of what they have done.
Remember, we have the power as Parliament to recommend the debarment of a contractor. So that if it's workmanship arising from the capacity or negligence of a contractor, then we can put a stop to it. So again, we have the power. Governor.
Chair, I don't want to contradict what my senator said. He seems very angry. But before casting aspersions and making judgment against maybe any contractor, like you have said, you have powers. Why don't we maybe constitute some investigation to find out, because we also want value for money. We want to know how much has been spent and whether there is value for money on that particular road without making this value judgment at this point in time. Through you, Chair.
Senator Dulo, you wanted to make a comment? Senator Sifuna?
You know, Chair, there was a recent conversation in the national space about how counties have utilized the money that we send to them, especially in northern Kenya. If you ask me, as somebody whose rural home is in Bungoma, did the town need that dual carriageway? Yes. Was it necessary, or was it required that the county government take up that responsibility? I think it's no. Because if you look at what the national government has done in other towns, what it has done in other towns, including our neighbors in Kakamega, that dual carriageway through Kakamega town was done as part of the road from Kisumu to Webuye. And it has actually added value. So as county government, sometimes you get yourself in a situation where you are forced to do some of these things. I remember the example that we gave of Mandera County, where they didn't have a TTC, there were no teachers there, they didn't have a KMTC, so they have to build these things themselves. The first kilometer of tarmac in Mandera town, ever since this country was founded, was built by devolution. So sometimes there is a fine line, Chairman, and one of the things that we want to do, especially in the new dispensation, Governor, from 2027, is we want also, the way they list the amount of money that goes to each county through devolution, we want to see how much money the national government spends in Bungoma as well. Because they have the chunk of the money, and you find that these resources are sent to other places inequitably. Our friends in the north are celebrating their first ever road. Why is it being just done now? That's a question we need to ask.
Chair.
Senator, Governor?
I also just wanted, now that, when we talk, we are on record. You asked the auditor a question and he's responded by saying, so far there's no loss of money. My senator said there is loss of money. So what is the ruling?
But I think, Chair,
You know, there's a gap which you have not agreed on.
Chair, the government is setting a trap for you.
Your officer,
You need to be careful.
your officer says that there were evaluation committees constituted. The Auditor General says that they did not see that evidence.
Yes.
So until and unless we see that evidence, we cannot make a definite conclusion on the matter.
But Chair, you asked a direct question to the auditor and he answered. That's what I was saying now, it throws us into confusion because my senator said a lot of money has been looted.
Yes.
And it's on record. The auditor who is qualified, the most qualified person to address matters of impropriety in any institution, says there's no money that was lost. So
Auditor, did you see the evaluation committee proceedings as you had requested for those variations?
We did not, and in addition to that, Honorable Chair, we have listed so many defects in that project. Definitely, there is no value for money for that 1.3 million.
Yeah, so Governor, I don't think it's an issue of black or white in this, because there is some spectrum in between, which can only be dealt with if we get the documentation that the auditor is talking about. Senator,
Would a ruling that the auditor just keep the matter in view, would that satisfy everyone?
I don't know whether it will satisfy Senator Wakoli.
The auditor said,
which has been